What's up, everyone? It's Raylo from KidneyPuncher.com, here to bring you another review. This time, we will be discussing the Cuboid by Joyetech, their new 150 watt device, which is quite stellar. But before I go into any more detail, let's go ahead and dive down up close and take a closer look at the Cuboid by Joyetech. All right, so here we are in up close mode with the Joyetech Cuboid 150 watt box mod. Let's go ahead and take it out of the box. So here's the box it comes with. Got some information, upside down here on the back, kind of gives you a little rundown. So let's go ahead and open this puppy up. Oh, got a little warranty card here. We got our mod right here. This would be the front of the mod, and this is the back. But let's keep digging down into this box. We'll take this out. We have the user manual from Joyetech in a few different languages. And another box with the USB cable used for firmware upgrades and stuff of that nature. So let's go ahead and put all this stuff away and go into some details with the Cuboid. Okay, so here we are. Here's the front face of the Cuboid. You can kind of see there with the glare that you have a nice, clear, glossy screen. Right here on the side, you have your button, nice, clicky button. On the back, says Joyetech Cuboid 150 watt. And then up here on the top, you have your spring-loaded 510 connection. And then on this side, you have your USB connector for firmware upgrades. And if you wanted to charge your batteries inside the device, but typically I always suggest with devices like this to always charge your batteries externally. Down here on the bottom, here's your latch to open up your battery bay. Opens up a lot easier when there's batteries in there. So here's your battery bay door. You can see clearly marked you have positive and negative. And then inside, let's go ahead and get some light on this for you. All right, so now that we got our light in here, you can see the inside. They also clearly mark a negative and a positive side, which is quite nice. And you can see in there, the machining is excellent. So let's go ahead and put some batteries in here, fire it up, and show you all the menu options. Oh, and by the way, before I forget, this does come in two different color options at the moment. We have it in the black with this nice semi-matte finish, nice coating on it. And then we also have it in the silver, which looks to be a brushed aluminum, possibly stainless steel. Not exactly sure, but it looks quite snazzy. Everything is identical other than the fact that this is a nice brushed metal finish. So now let's go ahead and talk about all the features that you have on the Cuboid. First things first, let's go ahead and get this thing started. It's 5 clicks on. I already have it on, so I'm just gonna go ahead and push that fire button. Hopefully this flickering's not gonna bother you too much. Can't really quite get it on camera without the flicker. But, so, like I told you before, 5 clicks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, turns it off, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, turns it right back on. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into some of the options that we have here. First one we're gonna go over is stealth mode. So to do stealth mode, you wanna hit your fire button and the left toggle switch, you can see here. So left and fire, that puts you into stealth mode. There we go. Now it's in stealth mode. So now you can fire it and nothing will come on. But if for some reason you need to adjust your settings, you can go in here and adjust your settings and the screen turns back on. So now let's go ahead and talk about the next feature, which would be your key lock mode. So if you want to lock these keys in so they don't fire on you, first things first, let's go ahead and take this out of stealth mode. So same thing, fire and left. Stealth mode is now off. So now when we fire, everything turns on. Now to do key lock, we hold both of these buttons at the same time. So now we have key lock. So now when I push these buttons, nothing happens, but it'll still fire if I want to take a hit. So let's go ahead and go into the next option, which would be to rotate your screen 180 degrees. Not exactly sure why you would want to do that, but let's go ahead and show you how to do that anyway. All right, so first thing we need to do is we need to turn off the device. So 5 clicks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Device is off. Now you take and hold the 2 toggle buttons down here at the bottom, just like we did when we were trying to do the key lock. So hold these down, and now your screen is flipped in the complete opposite direction. Again, not exactly sure why anyone would want to do that, but the option is there. So to make it go back, just hold those 2 buttons, and we're right back into normal. Let's go ahead and talk about the next option you have while using your Cuboid. All right, so let's do all the basics. So of course, like you've already seen, the side button here to fire, your toggles go up and down. So if you want to change wattage mode, you just click those buttons. So now if we want to access and change some things around, say we want to go into temperature control mode, this is what you need to do. So you hit the fire button 3 times, 1, 2, 3. That makes, see the power is blinking even though it's flickering. So now you would go through, and now it goes into temperature control nickel. Now it's in temperature control titanium. Now it's in temperature control for 316 stainless steel. And then we go into TCR mode, which I'll go over in a little bit, but that is a new feature for the Joyetech devices. And of course, right back into power mode, and just hit the power button. That sets you exactly where you need to be. These buttons here will show you, we'll go all the way up to 150 watts, and it will go all the way down to, let's find out, all the way down to 1 watt. So you have the full gambit from 1 watt all the way up to 150 watts. But since this is firmware upgradable, they already have an upgrade for these to allow you to take them up to 200 watts if you would like. So let's go ahead and show you some of the other options that we have. So let's go ahead and go back into our menu here. So 1, 2, 3, you can see everything is blinking. So now we're going to push the other side, and that takes you down to the amps. See where the amp's blinking now? So now when we push this button, it takes you into a puff counter. Push it again. We have puff, and then we also have time vaped or amp. I tend to leave it with amp mode just because puff counter doesn't really mean much to me. So let's go ahead and show you what else we can do. So the next thing we need to do is go back in, 1, 2, 3. And let's go ahead and go into temperature control mode. So let's put that in there. So now it's locked in for temperature in nickel. Now we get a couple more options when we go into the menu, 1, 2, 3. So now push the other side. Now we can change our wattage. So if you want to change your wattage up and down from 150 to 1 watt, you can do that in this option. You push it one more time. That takes you into your resistance if you want to lock your resistance in. So now you can see the little locking sign just shows up there. Push it again and it's unlocked. So of course, if you're in temperature control mode, you always want to lock your resistance in, but always make sure that your atomizer and your coils are at room temperature. So that is all the different things you can change. And of course, when it's not in the menu, that's how you change your temperature. So right now it's in Celsius, and you can also take it into Fahrenheit if need be. All right, so let's see what else we got here. All right, so the next thing we should talk about would be TCR mode, or temperature coefficient of resistance. And like I was telling you, this is a new feature with Joyetech, but this is a way for you to dial in when you're using temperature control mode. So if you end up getting something that's not reading correctly on temperature here, you can always fine tune it and set your own temperature. So, or not your own temperature, but your own coefficient. So to access that, first things first is you need to have your device off. So right now it's off, nothing's firing. And what you need to do is hold the fire button and the right toggle at the same time. Now we are in the TCR set mode. So when you go in here, you have 3 separate options and they're default at 120. Now, in the manual that you get with your device, it does give you a little bit of input. See if I could show you that. In the manual that you get, you have some TCR value ranges. So you can see here, we have nickel, we have NIFE, titanium, and stainless steel in multiple different grades. But it sort of gives you a rundown of what the TCR values are with these. So you can sit around, fine tune it, dial it in, and find out exactly where you like to vape and dependent on the wire that you're using. So let's go ahead and show you this here on the device. All right, so now that we're in there, as you could see before, we could choose whichever one we want and then go ahead and click the fire button. That'll bring you over and you could set your TCR value. TCR values on these, I believe, go down to a 1 all the way up to 1,000. And I don't think I'm going to make you sit and watch that whole thing. But you can sit around, play around with it, fine-tune your vape, and get it to exactly where you want it to be. Now, other menu options that are going to pop up over time while you're using it. So say I have this atomizer on here right now, and I go ahead and switch out to another one. You're going to get a new coil warning or same coil. So if the resistance changes on whichever atomizer you're using, it's going to ask you, and it's just simple yes or no. You hit left or right depending on which one it is. And then we also have some warning features that happen with this device. Some of those warning features will be over 10-second protection. So of course, if you vape on this for over 10 seconds at a time, it will pop up with the screen that says over 10-second protection mode, and it will just stop firing. So that way, if it happens to fire in your pocket, you're not going to have any issues with this thing continuously firing. It will automatically shut itself off. You have atomizer short circuit protection. So if you're having a short anywhere on your device, it'll pop up with a warning telling you atomizer short. You have a weak battery alert. So whenever your battery voltage drops below 2.9 volts, the battery will show weak battery. And that just means switch out your batteries, nothing to worry about. Then there's also the imbalance batteries. So if you get a voltage difference between the two cells, which is 0.3 volts or higher, an imbalance battery warning will appear. And at that point, you probably want to take your batteries out and give them a quick test, because you shouldn't be having any sort of difference as long as you have married batteries inside your device. There's also the charge error. A charge error will only show up if you have your device plugged in, and of course there's no power coming to it. You have a check battery warning. So when the device is powered on and plugged into the charger, if the cells are not put inside or accidentally placed opposite, the screen will show check battery. You have a check USB adapter. So if your voltage in the USB adapter is 5.8 volts or higher, the screen will appear to check the USB adapter. You have a low power alert. So if your voltage on your batteries is 3.1 volts, the device will show a battery low. If you continue to press the fire button, the device shows battery low lock and stops working. Recharging the batteries will unlock and reactivate your device. Then there's also the atomizer low alert. So if the resistance of your atomizer is lower than 0.1 in regular power mode or lower than 0.05 in temperature mode, the screen will show atomizer low. You also have temperature protection, which of course I can't show you all these things because this would take a whole long time. So you have temperature protection mode. So in variable temperature mode, when the actual temperature is reached on the coil or higher, you'll see protection pop up on your screen. There's a temperature alert. So if your device reaches over 70 degrees Celsius, the output will shut off automatically and the display will say device too hot. And then also, just like I said earlier with the batteries, it's probably not wise to charge your batteries inside the device. Actually, inside the manual, they even have a warning saying that they kindly suggest you take out the cells and charge them in a separate charger, that the micro USB port is on the left-hand side, and it's mainly for upgrading your device. All right, so that's about it for up close mode with the Cuboid by Joyetech. So let's go ahead and go back into FaceTime, talk about the specs, and a little bit more information about the device. All right, you guys, so we're back from up close mode with the Cuboid by Joyetech. Now let's go ahead and talk about some specs. But before I do that, let me go ahead and take a vape off of this real quick just to show you how it performs with the Ronin tank, which we just reviewed, I think, in our last video. Let me go ahead and take a hit. This is at 60 watts on a 0.25 build. So as you can see, works really well, produces quite a lot of vapor, as it should. It is a mod, and for the most part, from what I've seen and my testing, I've found it to be fairly accurate in comparison with, say, the DNA 200 chip or board, whatever you want to call it. But I found it to be pretty much on par with that when it comes to wattage mode, and also as well with temperature control. Plus, with the added TCR, you're able to kind of fine tune and find where you want your temperature to be. But I digress. Let's talk about some specs. So, as I've said before, this does range from 1 to 150 watts and up to 200 watts if you do the firmware upgrade, which I haven't done yet. When it comes to temperature, this ranges from 200 to 600 degrees Fahrenheit with variable wattage mode, so basic power mode. The resistance that you can vape this on is a 0.1 up to a 3.5 in temperature control mode. You can build as low as a 0.05 and up to a 1.5. So quite a decent range when it comes to temperature control resistance, which is nice because this also does work with Kanthal, nichrome 80, titanium, nickel, stainless steel, and with the added TCR, if anything else comes down the line in the near future, you'll be able to dial that in as well. This is a dual 18650 mod. We do suggest that you use at least a 20 amp battery or above. So like your Samsung 25Rs, your Sony VTC5s, and batteries of that type, since this does take you up to 25 amps for safety purposes. This does have a 0.96-inch OLED screen, which you've seen, even though it looks horrible on camera. I do apologize for that. And it also has the dual battery bar right there on the bottom. I really like the addition of the dual battery bar. For me, that is a big plus. It allows me to see in real time how my batteries are reacting inside my device. I can see if one's a little bit lower than the other, which I tend to see on this all the time. So one's always going to be a little bit lower than the other just because of the way that it's discharging your batteries. But since this has the safety feature of a difference of 0.3 volts, it will let you know if it has done that, so you will know, like, uh-oh, my batteries are bad, I better take these out, swap them out with something better. This does have a spring-loaded 510 connection, so most of your atomizers will sit on here quite flush and perfect. And it has reverse polarity protection. So if for some reason, when you're putting your batteries in here, you don't notice the plus and the minus sign on the door, you don't notice the plus and the minus sign inside, it still won't allow you to fire when you put your batteries in wrong. So that is a great added safety feature. Size for this device is 42 millimeters by 28 millimeters by 91.5 millimeters. So in comparison with, say, the DNA 200 or the SDNA 200, you can see it's a little bit fatter, but that's kind of nice because it'll allow it to sit better with your 25 millimeter devices, even though you probably will get a little overhang here because on a 22 millimeter device, it sits fairly flush right there. Actually, this is a 23 millimeter device. Let's go ahead and take a look at it side by side or back to front here. So you can see SDNA is a little bit wider. So this is a very narrow device, really comfortable in the hand. All the machining is done very well. I have zero complaints on that. You have the nice curvature on the corners, so there's really no sharp edges other than here, top and bottom. But I really don't notice that. The machining, like I said, done very well. Clicky buttons, beautiful screen, the nice kind of hidden like toggle switch down here at the bottom for your up and down or left and right, whatever you want to call it. Just an exceptional device. Probably, I know it's early in the year and there's going to be a million devices that come out, but as it stands right now, this is probably one of my go-to temperature controlled devices. It looks nice. It's small. It's form fitting. Feels great in the hand. Again, the clicky button, the beautiful screen, and just exceptional performance that I've received off of the Joyetech Cuboid 150 watt. So there you go, you guys. That is my review on this device. Oh, and before I end this video, it's at an exceptional price point. To get something of this quality and this much power made this well for the price that these are selling at right now was unheard of just a year ago. So we're getting some really, really, really good devices coming out of China right now, and this is definitely one of them. So if it interests you, go ahead and go down in the description. I'll post the product page and take a look at the Cuboid by Joyetech. I think you'll be thoroughly impressed with this device. So that is the official end of this video. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you do enjoy these videos, I'm going to be trying to release at least one video every week. Typically, these should be coming out on Wednesday. So subscribe, keep up with all the devices that I'll be talking about. And plus, we'll have some other cool videos of events and stuff that we're doing at Kidney Puncher. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for sitting here and checking out the Cuboid with me. And as always, vape on.